What up everyone, TrueBlue here, and Donkey Kong Bonanza came out about a week ago. I've already 100%ed it. Yes, I've played that game that much. It's phenomenal. Like, hands down, it is a phenomenal platformer, collectathon, whatever you want to call it. I have not had so much fun with the game in a long time. But there's been a lot of discourse, of course, as it goes with all Nintendo releases. Some people like it, some people don't, but a lot of people are bringing up Mario. This is a Donkey Kong platformer, not Mario. It's clear divide, clearly different, but it got a lot of people talking because Mario hasn't had a new proper 3D platformer in almost a decade. And besides Wonder, which was 2D at that, a lack of new games and more of a focus on the movie, a theme park. A lot of people are talking about the idea that Mario has run his course and is kind of washed. What that means is he's old. He's lost his touch with what it means to be a platformer in a game. And I'm here to discuss all that. Today, I want to take a look at kind of Mario's history in the last decade and see if and where he started kind of changing. And on top of that, is he really just a shell of his former self as a gaming icon? You know? If you want to see more discussion videos like this, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk more about just random stuff because, well, I like to yap. But with that all being said, I'm going to hop right into it. So, if we're going to jump back to October 27th, 2017, that is the release date for Mario Odyssey. A game that was praised at the time. It had issues, of course, like all games do, but it was still held in very high regard. Got incredible ratings, people loved it, and it was a return to form for Mario. Because the other 3D games we had at the time were like 3D World, Galaxy, which weren't exactly what people were looking for. Odyssey was what people have been wanting. But there were, again, clear issues. The amount of padding that was filled with all the random moons that were just scattered about, or the excessive amount of coins you'd have to grind up for the various costumes in the game. On top of that, the lack of support after the fact, as we only really got some extra costumes, which again added more grinding for coins, or the Luigi Balloon mode, which, let's be honest, no one cared about. Also, yeah, Labo support, because, you know, why not? And that was the only technically new 3D Mario in years. Again, people loved it at the time, and it was really kept alive by the speedrunning community, as do most games, but it did fall into obscurity quickly after as more games released and other franchises, especially in Nintendo's catalog, capitalized on the 3D platformer. It wouldn't be until February 12th, 2021, when we got something new akin to Odyssey. Not exactly Odyssey, but akin to it. I'm talking about Bowser's Fury from the 3D World port to Switch. Bowser's Fury is basically Odyssey 1.5, and it's a 3D open world with the 3D world mechanics. It's a fun mode, but it is short, very short. You can probably 100% in a few hours. And it does lack a lot of what Odyssey had as well. Again, it is a extra mode to sell 3D World ports. It's not really its own package. And that's where it stands. If we exclude that, Mario hasn't had a proper 3D game in almost a decade. And a new one at that. We've got many ports over the years of older games. A lot of sports games, of course, have also come and gone. But Mario's been very safe in that regard. He has not done much. But I want to jump over to the rest of Nintendo's catalog. Obviously, we recently had DK Bonanza, which completely shook up what it meant to be a 3D platformer by Nintendo. On top of having full voice acting, which Mario's never had properly. I'm not looking at Sunshine, because that, again, does not count. The open world level design. You could destroy everything there. There's costumes that actually matter. A skill tree, so you have incentive to collect all the bananas. It is so much more than Odyssey. And it fixed a lot of issues people had with Odyssey. But not just Donkey Kong. Let's look at another game that is known for platforming. Kirby. Kirby's always been a 2D platform with a lot of experimental game design. But we recently got Forgotten Land a couple years back, which is a proper 3D Kirby game. On top of that, we are getting new content, I believe, in the upcoming weeks. Kirby Forgotten Land is getting more content already than Odyssey did, and as of right now, all other Mario games really, because they just don't get that post-launch content. Now, it's not just Nintendo. Other gaming companies have made new 3D platformers, collectathons, whatever. On Switch at that, we have games like Sonic Frontiers. Sonic, a big, big competitor to Mario, as a lot of people still see it from the 90s, had a 3D platformer. And while it's a mixed bag of reviews, had a lot of post-launch content, and a lot of people really loved it. Then let's look at the other games that came out. We have Astrobot, which won Game of the Year, a 3D platformer. And other 90s icons that haven't had games in years over the last decade have gotten proper ports to modern consoles. Crash and Spyro being two big ones that a lot of people loved. While they're not necessarily the same exact genre, they are platformers with collectibles in them, and it stands to reason that, yeah, it's competition. And don't get me started on the indie scene. Indie games have gone crazy in recent years, and you've had such amazing platformers. Well, they're a bit older. Shovel Knight and A Hat in Time come to mind, as they're both games I love, both a 2D and 3D game respectively, and they really know what it means to be those genres of games, and they make Mario kind of not look like good games, which is a hot take, but it does show you that other people are making these games that Mario is not. Now, this video is focused on the 3D platforms, but I did previously mention all we really got was Wonder. And while Wonder is a unique game and it does spice up things, we still are coming off of the new Soup era where it was a lot of the same stuff on different consoles that were making people just sick of 2D Mario again. And we have, again, other companies making similar things for other consoles. So with all that being said, what are we looking at here? Why is Mario and his genre failing? Where has Mario gone? And I can attribute this to two reasons. One, Nintendo is playing it safe with Mario and doesn't experiment as much as they used to. Mario is more of a brand now, and with the theme park, movie, etc., Mario's more of an IP than ever before, and that is what Nintendo is trying to use. They're both valid arguments as to why Mario's being treated the way he is, but I want to look at each individually and then see maybe which one could be the case. So Nintendo's playing it safe. It's very clear that Nintendo, with its other IPs, is really going out there. Let's take a look at some of them just to see what I mean. We have Pikmin, which recently had his latest entry, and it was a massive game. It was similar, but it had a different camera angle, new Pikmin, Ochi, which completely switched up how you would usually play a Pikmin game, and tons of other features that added on to the formula. What about Zelda? Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom completely shook up what Zelda games meant. And while we had a more return to form with Echoes of Wisdom, that still is very different from what came way before it. And what about games like Fire Emblem? We had games that actually harkened back to the older games in the series with Engage, and just completely new takes on the franchise with more modern storytelling ever since the 3DS came out. I already previously mentioned Kirby, but if we look at something like Pokemon, which is even further detached from Nintendo, Scarlet Violet are completely different than what we're used to, and with Legends EA on the way and Legends Arceus before it, both massively different from what came before it. These big IPs for Nintendo are all going so far out from what we have known them as. They're adapting to the times and they're moving forward as franchises. Well, Mario hasn't done that. And I don't just mean as a platformer. Let's look back at some of his other games. The Mario sports games, in particular, really suffer from this as they play it super safe. The soccer, your tennis, golf, they have extra modes, extra features, but they play it super safe. They don't switch up the main formula too much, and they're sports games, so maybe that's another reason. But they play it very safe, and they don't do much different from what came before it, and they have a lot of post-launch updates to pad out the game rather than having it all at the launch, which definitely, ruins the life cycle of the game. Mario Party, well, a lot of people are happy with it. They stopped experimenting. Mario Party has done the opposite of the rest and has gone successful by going back to its roots. Is this a bad or good thing? I would say it's good. People want that from Mario Party. They want the more classic style, but in turn, Nintendo isn't doing much with it. It's safe. It's what we want. It's safe, but expected. It's not experimental or new like Nintendo's used to. Paper Mario went back to the RPG formula. properly. We literally got a port of the game people like. That is to go to show that Paper Mario, a game that has gone so far out since its inception, to be different each time, is going back to where it began. Back to when it was regarded as a good game. They played it safe. And the one for me that really kind of marks all the boxes and is the one that makes you stop and think, Mario & Luigi Brothership. Brothership literally undoes the damage done from the last couple games. Paper Jam, Dream Team. People started losing interest, of course. That is just common with a lot of games. Brothership played it as safe as possible. It is Mario & Luigi at its core. Nothing new, no new experimental additional features. It's more so go world to world. The map may be a unique take, but the rest is still exactly what people wanted. It's safe. In recent years, the only thing that has been switched up is Mario Kart, with Mario Kart World being an open world game and the tracks being different. But I wanted you guys to think for a sec. Mario Kart World has done what for the franchise besides that? Controversy. Mario Kart World is different, and the internet does not like that. Now, I, for one, am a huge fan of Mario Kart World. I would still say it's my favorite in the franchise. But the rest of the internet may not agree. So Nintendo finally experiments again, and it doesn't necessarily go the way they wanted. Mario is too big to fail at this point, arguably, so they don't really care if one of their games is a flop, because they can always go back, make a new one. But again, they don't want to risk ruining the IP. And that goes to my other point. Because I think a part of both of these points that I stated earlier have a big factor in Mario's legacy. Mario has grown so much from a video game. Again, the last decade. Let's go back. Like, Odyssey is we're looking at like the last 8 years. What have we gotten? A theme park in a movie. Mario's expanded far beyond a simple video game from the 90s. He has gone so far from that. And with stuff like a replacement voice cast and, more merch than ever before, it seems, like, Mario is in a very different spot than when Odyssey came out. And let that go to show, Nintendo's leadership switches in the last decade as they're a lot more business-oriented and making a lot more money with those new approaches they're taking. Unlike the rest of their catalog, I think Nintendo wants Mario to be the safe IP, the money maker. It's always been good at money making, but to really further reach, to go beyond a game, make it a brand, recognizable, and sell like Pokemon before it has to keep consistency. It has to be safe. They don't experiment anymore because it's not what they want from Mario anymore. They're not trying to make the next big thing. Mario is the big thing. They just want Mario, not a new idea. But that's all, speculation on my part. Is Nintendo really going to just milk Mario for a cash cow nowadays and stop using him as a prominent head video game character? No. We're still going to get Mario games, and if Mario Kart World is to go to show that they're finally actually touching up the franchise again, even if slightly and slowly. But that's still not to say that we're going to be seeing a lot of Mario. But is he as present as a game? No. I think it's safe to say Mario may have lost a bit of touch with gaming and has become more of a safe IP and brand for Nintendo to use. We haven't had that in a long time, and I think that's actually going to stay. I think Mario has technically run his course. I think we're seeing not the end, but a different era. We're seeing Mario at his most recognizable, at his biggest as a brand, and that is what Nintendo's doing forward. So I want to answer the question at the top of this video. Is Mario washed? No. While we've had other games, especially from Nintendo, that definitely make the platforming genre redefined and amazing again, saying Mario's washed is truly an understatement to what he has done for the gaming landscape. From a business standpoint, it makes sense. From a gaming standpoint, it doesn't. But we can't say for sure what Nintendo and their shareholders want out of Mario. We can only wait and see what products we get. Me personally, I think Mario should go back to being an experimental game franchise because that's what we know him as. From Sunshine to Galaxy to Odyssey, each of the games so different, so far from each other, and all phenomenal in their own rights. If we just leave him down to his core values and keep playing with a similar, cut and paste sort of style, I mean, look at New Soup, how that turned out. I don't think it'll be good for Mario to play it safe. We need the new and exciting. And obviously, Bonanza started off from Odyssey working teams and the engine and all that, so clearly they're still going to do something. What that is, it's not for us to say, as we have to wait. But all of that being said, that is kind of my take on the whole. Is Mario washed? And the future for Nintendo's Gold Boy. If, again, you want to see me talk more about these franchises in more business-oriented and or just broader terms, please let me know in the comments and subscribe. It was a ton of fun making this video like usual, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap it up there, and wish you all a lovely day.